Today on
Doomed!
It happened! Ladies and gentlemen, it happened! Donald J. Trump, real estate magnate, man from Queens, New York, owner of the social media platform Truth Social, former Twitter power user, and I guess he was also at one point or another, I think he was the president of the United States too, right? He was arrested. Let me put myself up on the screen here. Trump was arrested and arraigned today, folks. And the charges against the guy has been released. And we know what those 34 charges, I believe, are. And, I've seen what some cable news experts have said. They're not, they don't think that anything will come out of it, major. I've seen all sorts of critiques about it. I'm not a legal expert. But I will say that I don't really care. I don't really care because here's the deal. The dude clearly, based on what's laid out here, there's enough evidence, I should say, for Trump's alleged crimes. And let's be real. Come on. I mean, I'm being kind by saying alleged. And the critiques are all about, it shouldn't have gone this far in terms of upgrading it to the lowest level felony you could. It should have been a misdemeanor. I mean, if the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, presented his case to a grand jury and they decided to go with this, that seems like the system worked as intended, right? I mean, I'm not going to whip out a violin for Donald Trump. And of course, the odds of him being punished in any way, really, like the odds of him being punished in any way, besides just going through this all, slim to none. I think the max penalty is something like 4 years in prison for what Trump has been charged with. But experts say that no way would they give any prison time to someone who was, charged with this for the first time, for a first-time offense. Like Uncle Slayer in the chat says on YouTube, suddenly the right wing doesn't like DAs. LOL. I mean, yeah. I mean, where are these guys running out to defend? That's the thing. Like I mentioned this before. I've said this on the show before. But the refrain from the right, among the number of talking points they have, but one of their favorites is, if they could go after a former president, they could go after you. No, they've already been going after us. They go after us every day, and they go after people of various different minority groups even more than they do everybody else. But as a whole, even counting all the regular white people out there, the average American who is white, even counting all of them, they go after all of them more than they go after the powerful like Trump. So yeah, I think it's already been that way, and this is proof that, hey, it could actually be the other way around, where, hey, imagine if along with saying that, not even imagine if instead of going after us, they went after these people actually in power. I mean, really now. So, I don't really care. And another favorite from the right is, and I should say, I would care, obviously, if this was actually the political hit they think it is. No, the dude committed, allegedly, crimes. And they laid it out. They laid out the 34 charges to argue over what level they should have been charged. I mean, I don't really care to have that argument. Because that's ridiculous. Honestly, that's ridiculous. What they're accusing Trump of doing will be no different. And, people in the chat, there's some good news out of Wisconsin and the Chicago elections going on. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's good to hear. This is just a me show today. I had on 2 weeks ago when this all broke and there was the rumors that the DA Alvin Bragg was going to charge Trump, was going to, put out, indict Trump. The grand jury, I should say, that he got together was going to indict Trump. I had on Lance from the Surfs. And we had a pretty, spanning everything we could possibly talk about with the knowledge we had at that time. And then on the Thursday show I do, Leftist Mafia, this past Thursday, when we knew that he was going to be indicted and he had planned to go to come to New York on Tuesday and bring it and turn himself in, we discussed even more. And I usually try to not talk about things that the mainstream are talking about, or I try to find another angle. But folks, I do a show pretty much every single week of the year. I mean, more if you count the other shows I do. But I do Doomed, this show, Doomed with Matt Binder, 1 week every year. Maybe I take some days off every now and then. But I would say there's a good 48 to 50 shows per year that I do of just this program. And there will be 47 to 49 episodes where I'll be talking about things that the rest of the mainstream media are not talking about. But today, how can I help but not read the first of all, I'm going to read the press release, the indictment, and the statement of facts. Now, will I read the whole thing? We'll see how long it takes. They're not that long, actually. But I think it'll be a good time to go through this. And I know Trump is apparently back at Mar-a-Lago. He took a plane back to Mar-a-Lago after he was, arraigned and everything. And let me bring up some photos for people watching the stream. People listening to the podcast, don't worry, I'm not gonna have them up for long. But here's Trump when he's entering. This is Trump when he's entering the Manhattan court, fist in the air, fist pumping in the air. Obviously modern day Nelson Mandela over here. And then we have, where is this? We have him sitting in the courtroom. This one's a pretty good shot. This is a pretty good one. Trump sitting in the courtroom. I enjoy this shot. He looks miserable. He's sitting at the desk. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good shot. We don't get a mug shot. Obviously, Trump didn't go in cuffs. We knew the cuffs wasn't happening. We knew there was no perp walk. We knew there's no jail cell. I hope for the cuffs. I mean, excuse me, not the cuffs. I hope for a mugshot. That I thought we would get, but apparently we don't get that. They're not going to do it. And some people thought that maybe they purposely didn't do it so Trump couldn't roll out a T-shirt, use it to his advantage, and I get it. He did it anyway. This is a Trump email people on his mailing list received. Let me pull that up on the screen. With a call for donations, and obviously with a contribution of $47 or more. 47, jeez. You can get this Donald Trump fake mugshot shirt that says "not guilty" on it. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Of course, obviously, the little like the name plate they put in front of him, for the fake one, they put President Donald J. Trump, because as they would in real life if that happened. And there were I considered going down to the courthouse today before Trump got there. But if you look at the videos and everything, it was insane. And not insane like, oh my God, so much going on, so many Trump supporters. It was crazy. No. It was like 95% press and media. I would say another 4.5% anti-Trump counter-protesters, and like 0.5% of it were Trump supporters. And they were constantly getting drowned out and surrounded by the media. I know George Santos went down there and immediately left because he couldn't get anywhere near the courthouse. Marjorie Taylor Greene went down there, and I actually pulled some video of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Maybe we'll save that for a little bit. But she went down there, tried to talk. She was drowned out by counter-protesters, and then she basically went to her car and did all the right-wing media from her car. And I have some of those clips. Ridiculous. But yeah, let's, I thought we got to do this. How often? How often? It's never happened before. First time a former president charged with a crime, indicted, arrested, arraigned. We gotta talk about it. Let's pull this up. Let me get this in a new window. I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second. I know this is not riveting to hear me set things up, but let me just put this in a window so I can pull it up on screen. All right, so let's now screen share. And now let's read. So let's make this smaller so we get it all on screen for you all. There we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. This is the press release. Let's get to the press release first. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg today announced the indictment of Donald J. Trump, 76, for falsifying New York business records in order to conceal damaging information and unlawful activity from American voters before and after the 2016 election. During the election, Trump and others employed a catch-and-kill scheme to identify, purchase, and bury negative information about him and boost his electoral prospects. Trump then went to great lengths to hide this conduct, causing dozens of false entries in business records to conceal criminal activity, including attempts to violate state and federal election laws. The people who did directly violate those, which is what I brought that up 2 shows ago on the Trump show with Lance from the Surfs. And I assume they were going to do something with that. Maybe they don't have enough. Maybe they're still looking into that. I can tell you that there are multiple investigations still into Donald Trump. Ones that would actually be bigger than this, like the investigation in Georgia, where they're looking into his attempt to overturn the election by pressure and blackmail, and I think maybe even threaten the election official down in Georgia for the 2020 election. And there's a few other ones too. And I think January 6th, one involves January 6th as well. But he has not been charged with violating election laws, I believe. We'll read these. They're all related to the falsifying business records. Here we go. Trump is charged in a New York State Supreme Court indictment with 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. And here's a quote from Bragg. The people of the state of New York allege that Donald Trump repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to conceal crimes that hid damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 presidential election. Manhattan is home to the country's most significant business market. We cannot allow New York businesses to manipulate their records to cover up criminal conduct. As the statement of facts describes, the trail of money and lies exposes a pattern that the people allege violates one of New York's basic and fundamental business laws. As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. According to court documents and statements made on the record in court from August 2015, and these statements, by the way, I believe come from a number of different witnesses, including Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. From August 2015 to December 2017, Trump orchestrated his catch-and-kill scheme through a series of payments that he then concealed through months of false business entries. In one instance, all right, here we go. This is gonna get juicy. This is from the press statement. Now, this first one, I don't believe they charged him with anything yet, or if they're going to at all. I don't know why, but they mention it in the press release. In one instance, American Media Inc., AMI, that's the parent company of the National Enquirer, paid $30,000 to a former Trump Tower doorman who claimed to have a story about a child Trump had out of wedlock. All right. I mean, we did know about this one. I think everyone just forgot. But if you Google it, this was a story that was out there in like 2018, I want to say. But a lot of stuff has happened since 2018. Not even just in politics. So I get that people might have forgotten. In a second instance, AMI paid $150,000 to a woman who alleged she had a sexual relationship with Trump when Trump explicitly directed a lawyer who then worked for the Trump Organization as Trump's special counsel, that's Michael Cohen, to reimburse AMI in cash. The special counsel indicated to Trump that the payment should be made via a shell company and not by cash. AMI ultimately declined to accept reimbursement after consulting their counsel. AMI, which later admitted its conduct was unlawful in an agreement with federal prosecutors, made false entries in its business records concerning the true purpose of the $150,000 payment. Now, I should say, this $150,000 payment that we're talking about in this second instance is not Stormy Daniels. It's former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal, who I think a lot of people have forgotten about. She was paid $150,000 to not speak about an alleged affair she had in Trump. She had with Trump. Excuse me. In the third instance, now this is the Stormy Daniels one, 12 days before the presidential general election, the special counsel wired $130,000 to an attorney for an adult film actress. The special counsel, who has since pleaded guilty and served time in prison, that's Michael Cohen, for making the illegal campaign contribution, made the payment through a shell corporation funded through a bank in Manhattan. After winning the election, Trump reimbursed the special counsel through a series of monthly checks. First, from the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, created in New York to hold the Trump Organization's assets during Trump's presidency, and later from Trump's bank account. In total, 11 checks were issued for a phony purpose. 9 of those checks were signed by Trump. Each check was processed by the Trump Organization and allegedly disguised the payment for legal services rendered pursuant to a non-existent retainer agreement. In total, 34 false entries were made in New York business records to conceal the initial covert $130,000 payment. Further participants in the scheme took steps that mischaracterized, for tax purposes, the true nature of the reimbursements. And then it goes on to list which assistant DAs are involved. And the charges: falsifying business records in the first degree, a Class E felony, 34 counts. It says defendant information, Donald J. Trump of Palm Beach, Florida. So there's an indictment, and I will read a few of this. I don't think we need to read all 34 counts. I mean, maybe there is a juicy thing. Well, it's 16 pages. It's not that long, honestly, but it might be not that great to read. And then there's the whatchamacallit, the statement of facts, which is actually a little bit more interesting, and that's only 13 pages. All right, cool. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, Sitting Cow pointed out they're all identical. Yeah, so I'll read the beginning of the indictment, and they're all identical because it's various different counts for each time it was, each instance, but it's the same thing. So I'll read the beginning. The Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York. The people of the State of New York against Donald J. Trump. I just want to take a second here and say, I don't know if I've ever been prouder to be a New Yorker. I mean, that's me. The people of the State of New York against Donald J. Trump. That's me. I'm the people of New York State. That's me. The people of New York, i.e. Matt Binder, v. Donald J. Trump. It's official. The grand jury of the County of New York, by this indictment, accuses the defendant of the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree, in violation of Penal Law 17510, committed as follows. The defendant in the County of New York and elsewhere, on or about February 14th, 2017, happy Valentine's Day, jeez, with the intent to defraud, a happy Valentine's Day, Melania, I guess, right? With the intent to defraud and intent to commit another crime and aid and conceal the commission thereof, made and caused a false entry in the business records of an enterprise, to wit, an invoice from Michael Cohen dated February 14th, 2017, marked as a record of the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust and kept and maintained by the Trump Organization. Second count. And the grand jury, aforesaid by this indictment, further accuses the defendant of the crime of falsifying business records in the first degree. Defendant in the County of New York and elsewhere, on or about February 14, 2017. Same thing, pretty much. Yeah, same thing. Same thing each time, it looks like. I'll just read... Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I'll finish reading that first one, and then we'll move on. The defendant of the County of New York and elsewhere, on or about February 14, 2017, with the intent to defraud and intent to commit another crime and aid and conceal the commission thereof, made and caused a false entry in the business records of an enterprise, to wit, an entry in the detailed general ledger for the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, bearing voucher number 842457, and kept and maintained by the Trump Organization. I'm assuming each one of these will have a different check number. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. There you go. But here we go. Now, the statement of fact is interesting. This actually gets into the details. This is like them laying out the case right here. The defendant, Donald J. Trump, repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to conceal criminal conduct that hid damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 presidential election. From August 2015 to December 2017, the defendant orchestrated a scheme with others to influence the 2016 presidential election by identifying and purchasing negative information about him to suppress its publication and benefit the defendant's electoral prospects. In order to execute the unlawful scheme, the participants violated election laws and made and caused false entries in the business records of various entities in New York. The participants also took steps that mischaracterized, for tax purposes, the true nature of the payments made in furtherance of the scheme. One component of the scheme was that at the defendant's request, a lawyer who then worked for the Trump Organization as special counsel to defendant, Lawyer A, this is Michael Cohen. I don't know why they call him Lawyer A here when they previously mentioned his name, but that is Michael Cohen, covertly paid $130,000 to an adult film actress shortly before the election to prevent her from publicizing a sexual encounter with the defendant. Lawyer A made the $130,000 payment through a shell corporation he set up and funded at a bank in Manhattan. This payment was illegal, and Lawyer A has since pleaded guilty to making an illegal campaign contribution and served time in prison. Further, false entry. Imagine going to prison for Donald Trump, man. Oh my God. This guy may be singing like a canary now, but jeez. Imagine going to prison because you paid someone off for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's not even going to go to prison. God, what a cuck. Further, false entries were made in New York business records to effectuate this payment, separate and apart from the New York business records used to conceal the payment. After the election, the defendant reimbursed Lawyer A for the illegal payment through a series of monthly checks. First from the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, the defendant's trust, a trust created under the laws of New York which held the Trump Organization entity assets after the defendant was elected president, and then from the defendant's bank account. Each check was processed by the Trump Organization, and each check was disguised as a payment for legal services rendered in a given month of 2017 pursuant to a retainer agreement. The payment records, kept and maintained by the Trump Organization, were false New York business records. In truth, there was no retainer agreement, and Lawyer A was not being paid for legal services rendered in 2017. The defendant caused his entity's business records to be falsified to disguise his and others' criminal conduct. The defendant is the beneficial owner of a collection of business entities known by the trade name the Trump Organization. The Trump Organization compromises approximately 500 separate entities. Among other business activities, own and manage hotels, golf courses, commercial real estate, condominium developments, and other properties. The Trump Organization is headquartered at 725 Fifth Avenue in New York County. All right. From approximately June 2015 to November 2016, the defendant was a candidate for the office of President of the United States. On January 20th, 2017, he became President of the United States. That's wild to read in one of these, honestly. All right, here we go. The scheme. The catch and kill scheme to suppress negative information. During and in furtherance of his candidacy for president, the defendant and others agreed to identify and suppress negative stories about him. Two parties to this agreement have admitted to committing illegal conduct in connection with the scheme. In August 2018, Lawyer A pleaded guilty to federal crimes involving illegal campaign contributions and subsequently served time in prison. In addition, in August 2018, American Media Inc., AMI, a media company that owned and published magazines and supermarket tabloids, including the National Enquirer, admitted in a non-prosecution agreement that it made a payment to a source of a story to ensure that the source did not publicize damaging allegations about the defendant before the 2016 presidential election and thereby influence that election. The 2015 Trump Tower meeting. In June 2015, the defendant announced his candidacy for President of the United States. Soon after, in August 2015, the defendant met with Lawyer A and AMI's chairman and chief executive officer, the AMI CEO. Now, I'm not sure why they don't say his name, but his name is David Pecker, the former CEO of American Media Inc., AMI. So, Pecker. Okay. Maybe that's why they left it out. At the meeting, the AMI CEO, Pecker, agreed to help with the defendant's campaign, saying that he would act as the eyes and ears for the campaign by looking out for negative stories about the defendant and alerting Lawyer A, Michael Cohen, before the stories were published. The AMI CEO also agreed to publish negative stories about the defendant's competitors for the election. Suppressing the doorman story. A few months later, in or about October or November 2015, the AMI CEO learned that a former Trump Tower doorman, aka the doorman, was trying to sell information regarding a child that the defendant had allegedly fathered out of wedlock. I.e., Eric Trump. No, I'm just joking about that. I don't. Who knows? But that was a joke. At the AMI CEO's direction, AMI negotiated and signed an agreement to pay the doorman $30,000 to acquire exclusive rights to the story. I'll be honest. I think the fathering a child out of wedlock would have been a bigger story than Trump having relations with an adult film star. I mean, if I was his doorman, I would have been pissed that I only negotiated $30K. After finding out that Stormy Daniels was able to get $130K, I'd be like, "What the fuck? I should have asked for $250K at least." Doorman greatly undervalued himself. Here's a little tip. I'm not President Deals, but here's a little tip. If you want, if you're in negotiations and you're asked to give them an offer, shoot for the stars. Go as high as you want with another number in mind that's more in the ballpark of reasonable that you're willing to settle on. Because this does one of two things. One, hell, you might get that high number. So ask, bring it up. Say that's your asking price. And number two, if you do negotiate, maybe it'll be even higher than the number that you want to eventually land on. And then, of course, when you do land on that number you eventually land on, it's going to look good for them, even though you had it in your mind as the number you're looking for. Because they thought you were sincerely asking for that shooting for the stars asking price. Just, doorman could have used that advice. 30K, oof. Gotta be kicking himself for that one. All right, here we go. Doorman's AMI negotiated and signed an agreement to pay the doorman $30K to acquire exclusive rights to the story. AMI falsely characterized this payment in AMI's books and records, including in its general ledger. AMI purchased the information from the doorman without fully investigating his claims, but the AMI CEO, Pecker, directed that the deal take place because of his agreement with the defendant and Lawyer A. When AMI later concluded that the story was not true, the AMI CEO wanted to release the doorman from the agreement. However, Lawyer A instructed the AMI CEO not to release the doorman until after the presidential election, and the AMI CEO complied with that instruction because of his agreement with the defendant and Lawyer A. Suppressing woman one's count. About 5 months before the presidential election, in or about June 2016, the editor-in-chief of the National Enquirer and the AMI's chief content officer, the AMI editor-in-chief. Wait, is that Pecker actually? No, Pecker is the CEO. Okay. I don't know who the editor-in-chief was. Okay, who cares though? Let's get back to the editor-in-chief, National Enquirer, and AMI's chief content officer contacted Lawyer A about a woman one, That would be not Stormy Daniels again. That would be former Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. Contacted like Michael Cohen about a woman one, who alleged she had a sexual relationship with the defendant while he was married. AMI editor-in-chief updated lawyer A regularly about the matter over text message and by telephone. Can you imagine those text messages and phone calls though? The up-to-the-minute information about. Imagine getting regular calls updating you on the status of Donald Trump's affair with a former Playboy playmate. The defendant did not want this information to become public. Again, that's Donald Trump, because he was concerned about the effect it could have on his candidacy. Therefore, the defendant, AMI CEO, and lawyer A had a series of discussions about who should pay off woman one to secure her silence. AMI ultimately paid $150,000 to woman one in exchange for her agreement not to speak out about the alleged sexual relationship, as well as for 2 magazine covers features of woman one and a series of articles that would be published under her byline. AMI falsely characterized this payment in AMI's books and records, including in its general ledger. The AMI CEO agreed to the deal after discussing it with both the defendant and lawyer A, and on the understanding from lawyer A, the defendant or the Trump organization would reimburse AMI. In a conversation captured in an audio recording in approximately September 2016 concerning woman one's account, the defendant and lawyer, remember this is now 2 months before the election day in 2016. The defendant and lawyer A, that's Trump and Cohen, discussed how to obtain the rights to woman one's account from AMI and how to reimburse AMI for its payment. Lawyer A told the defendant he would open up a company for the transfer of woman one's account and other information, and stated that he had spoken to the chief financial officer for the Trump organization and about how to set the whole thing up. This is a quote. The defendant asked, "So what do we got to pay for this?" Or should I say, "So what do we got to pay for this? $150?" And suggested paying by cash. Should we pay with cash? When lawyer A disagreed, the defendant then mentioned payment by check. What about check? After the conversation, lawyer A created a shell company called Resolution Consultants LLC on or about September 30th, 2016. Less than 2 months before the election, the AMI CEO signed the agreement in which AMI agreed to transfer its rights to woman one's account to lawyer A's shell company for $125,000. However, after the assignment agreement was signed, but before the reimbursement took place, the AMI CEO consulted with the AMI's general counsel and then told lawyer A that the deal to transfer rights to the lawyer A's shell company was off. Suppressing woman two's account. About 1 month before the election, on or about October 7, 2016, news broke that the defendant had been caught on tape saying to the host of Access Hollywood, that's Billy Bush, "I just start kissing them." Women. That's what he's talking about. I just start kissing them. Oh, I should have just pulled the tape to play it. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the... They put genitals in parentheses. He doesn't say genitals. He just grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. The evidence shows that both the defendant and his campaign staff were concerned that the tape would harm his viability as a candidate and reduce his standing with female voters in particular. As a side note, their worries turned out to be wrong. Unfortunately. Christ almighty. Remember those days back when we thought normal things would happen when things like this would get out? Christ. Anyway, back to the statement of fact. Shortly after the Access Hollywood tape became public, the AMI editor-in-chief contacted the AMI CEO about another woman two, this is Stormy Daniels, who alleged she had a sexual encounter with the defendant while he was married. The AMI CEO took the AMI editor-in-chief to notify Lawyer A. On or about October 10th, 2016, the AMI editor-in-chief connected Lawyer A with the Woman 2's lawyer, Lawyer B. Lawyer A then negotiated. This is Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Lawyer B. Lawyer A then negotiated a deal with Lawyer B to secure Woman 2's silence and prevent disclosure of the damaging information in the final weeks before the presidential election. Under the deal with Lawyer B negotiated, Woman 2 would be paid $130,000 for the rights to her account. The defendant directed Lawyer A to delay making a payment to Woman 2 as long as possible. This is really interesting. He instructed Lawyer A that if they could delay the payment until after the election, they could avoid paying altogether, because at that point, it would not matter if the story became public. As reflected in emails and text messages between and among Lawyer A, Lawyer B, and AMI editor-in-chief, Lawyer A attempted to delay making payment as long as possible. So let me break this down. Donald Trump had a plan that he tried to roll out with Michael Cohen, but it was Donald Trump's plan to delay paying Stormy Daniels the agreed $130K for as long as he could, in hopes that they would get to Election Day. She would not have gone public because she was waiting for this payment and didn't want to screw it up. And then immediately after the election results, they would just go, oh, payment off. We're not paying you, Stormy. You're fired. Because they would deem, who cares if she comes out with the story then? He's already won the election. So there would be no impact to the election. I mean, that's the art of the deal, baby. That's the art of the deal. But not quite. Ultimately, with pressure mounting and the election approaching, the defendant agreed to the payoff and directed Lawyer A to proceed. Lawyer A discussed the deal with the defendant and the TO CFO. I think that's the Trump organization. Right. The defendant did not want to make the $130K payment himself and asked Lawyer A, Michael Cohen, and Trump organization chief financial officer to find a way to make the payment. After discussing various payment options with the TO CFO, Michael Cohen agreed that he would make the payment. Before making the payment, Cohen confirmed with Trump that Trump would pay him back. Bad idea, Michael Cohen. On or about October 26, shortly after speaking with Trump on the phone, Cohen opened a bank account in Manhattan in the name of Essential Consultants, LLC, a new shell company he had created to effectuate the payment. He then transferred $130,000 from his personal home equity line of credit into the account. What a fucking cuck. I swear to God. Christ almighty. $131,000 of his own personal home equity line of credit in order to help cover for Trump, with no guarantee Trump would pay him back. What a loser. Christ. My God. Like a social communist in the Twitch chat points out, with knowledge that Trump rarely pays people back. Right. Trump's long history of not only not paying people back, but not paying people his bills, not paying people like contractors, not paying people for services rendered to him or his companies, knowing all that as his legal counsel. Christ. On or about October 27, Cohen wired $130K from Essential Consultants' account in New York to Stormy Daniels' lawyer to suppress Stormy Daniels' account. Post-election communications with AMI CEO. On November 8th, 2016, the defendant won the presidential election and became the president-elect. Thereafter, AMI released both Doorman and Woman 1 from their non-disclosure agreements. The defendant was inaugurated as president and on January 20th, 2017. Between Election Day and Inauguration Day, during the period of the defendant's transition to his role as president, the defendant met with the AMI CEO privately in Trump Tower in Manhattan. The defendant thanked the AMI CEO for handling the stories of the doorman and woman one. Again, this is Trump thanking the CEO of National Enquirer's parent company and invited the CEO to the inauguration. In the summer of 2017, the defendant invited the CEO to the White House for a dinner to thank him for his help during the campaign. The defendant falsified business records. Shortly after being elected president, the defendant arranged to reimburse lawyer A for the payoff he made on the defendant's behalf. In or around January 2017, the Trump CFO and Cohen met to discuss how Cohen would be reimbursed for the money he paid to ensure Stormy Daniels' silence. The Trump CFO asked Cohen to bring a copy of the bank statement for the Essential Consultants account showing the $130K payment. The Trump CFO and Cohen agreed to a total repayment amount of $420K. They reached that figure by adding a $130K payment to a $50K payment for another expense for which lawyer A also claimed reimbursement for a total of $180K. The Trump CFO then doubled that amount to $130K so that lawyer A could characterize the payment as income on his tax returns instead of a reimbursement. And Cohen would be left with $180K after paying approximately paying approximately 50% in income taxes. Finally, the Trump CFO added an additional $60K as a supplemental year-end bonus. Together, these amounts totaled $420K. The Trump CFO memorialized these calculations in handwritten notes on the copy of the bank statement that Cohen had provided. The defendant, the Trump CFO, and Cohen then agreed that Cohen would be paid the $420K through 12 monthly payments of $35K over the course of 2017. Each month, Cohen was to send an invoice to the defendant through the Trump Organization employees, falsely requesting payment of $35K for legal services rendered in a given month of 2017 pursuant to a retainer agreement. At no point did lawyer A have a retainer agreement with the defendant or the Trump Organization. In early February 2017, Trump and Cohen met in the Oval Office at the White House and confirmed this repayment agreement. So this scheme, the illegal scheme, was set up in the Oval Office in the White House as well, to make that clear. On or about February 14, 2017, lawyer A emailed the controller of the Trump Organization the first monthly invoice, which stated, pursuant to the retainer agreement, kindly remit payment for services rendered for the months of January and February 2017. The invoice requested payment in the amount of $35K for each of those 2 months. The Trump CFO approved the payment, and in turn, the Trump controller sent the invoice to the Trump Organization accounts payable supervisor with the following instructions. Post to legal expenses, put retainer for the months of January and February 2017 in the description. Cohen submitted 10 similar monthly invoices by email to the Trump Organization for the remaining months in 2017. Each invoice falsely stated that it was being submitted pursuant to the retainer agreement and falsely requested payment for services rendered for a month in 2017. In fact, there was no such retainer agreement, and lawyer A, Cohen, was not being paid for services rendered in any month of 2017. The Trump controller forwarded each invoice to the Trump accounts payable supervisor, consistent with the Trump Organization controller's initial instructions. The Trump accounts payable supervisor printed out each invoice and marked it with an accounts payable stamp in the General Ledger Code 51505 for legal expenses. The Trump org maintained the invoices as records of expenses paid. As instructed, the Trump accounts payable supervisor recorded each payment in the Trump Organization's electronic accounting system, falsely describing it as a legal expense pursuant to a retainer agreement for a month of 2017. The Trump Organization maintained a digital entry for each expense, called it a voucher, and these vouchers, like vouchers for other expenses, became part of the Trump Organization's general ledgers. The Trump Organization's accounts payable supervisor then prepared checks with an attached check stub for approval and signature. The first check was paid from the defendant's trust and signed by the Trump Organization CFO and Trump's son as trustees. Which son? I'm assuming Eric at this point, because isn't he the one who was in charge of Trump Organization while Trump was president? The check stub falsely recorded the payment as retainer for the dates rendered. The second check for March 2017 was also paid from the trust and signed by 2 trustees. The check stub falsely recorded the payment as retainer for, and then the dates of the payment rendered. The services rendered, I should say. The remaining 9 checks corresponding to the months of April through December of 2017 were paid by the defendant personally. Each of the checks, so this is Trump's personal account, each of the checks was cut from the defendant's bank account and sent along with the corresponding invoices from Lawyer A from the Trump Organization in New York County to the defendant in Washington, D.C. The checks and stubs bearing the false statements were stapled to the invoices also bearing false statements. The defendant signed each of the checks personally and had them sent back to the Trump Organization in New York County. There, the checks, the stubs, and the invoices were scanned and maintained in the Trump Organization's data system before the checks themselves were detached and mailed to Lawyer A for payment. The $35,000 payment stopped after the December 2017 payment. Just 3 more pages. The investigation into Lawyer A and the defendant's pressure campaign. All right, here we go. This is what's going on. This is what got them here now, what they were looking into. On or about April 9, 2018, the FBI executed a search warrant on Lawyer A's residences and office. In the months that followed, the defendant and others engaged in a public and private pressure campaign to assure that Cohen did not cooperate with law enforcement in the federal investigation. On the day of the FBI searches, Cohen called to speak with Trump to let him know what had occurred. In a return call, Trump told Cohen to stay strong. On or about April 21st, 2018, the defendant publicly commented on Twitter encouraging Cohen not to flip, stating, most people will flip if the government lets them out of trouble, even if it means lying or making up stories. Sorry, I don't see Cohen doing that. In mid-April 2018, Cohen was also approached by an attorney, Lawyer C here now, a new attorney enters the chat, who offered to represent him in the interest of maintaining a back channel of communication to Trump. On April 21st, 2018, Lawyer C emailed Cohen, highlighting that he had a close relationship with Trump's personal attorney, Lawyer D. Another attorney enters the chat, and stating, this could not be a better situation for the president or you. Later that day, Lawyer C emailed Cohen again, writing, I spoke with Lawyer D. Very, very positive. You are loved. Lawyer D said this communication channel must be maintained. Sleep well tonight. You have friends in high places. Christ. This really does sound like some mafia-esque thing, doesn't it? It's like, here we go. Let's get back to this. All right. See here. This could not be a better situation for the president or you. See? I spoke with Trump's personal lawyer. See? Very, very positive. You are loved. The lawyer said this communication channel, though, it must be maintained. You see? Sleep well tonight. You have friends in high places. You are loved. That sounds like you are. I spoke with Lawyer D. Very, very positive. You are loved. It sounds like what happens, what they say right before they have you turn around and they whack you, right? Sleep well tonight. You know you're getting whacked. Sleep well tonight. You be sleeping with the fishes. It's more like it. On or about June 14th, 2018, Lawyer C emailed Lawyer a news clip discussing the possibility of Cohen cooperating and continued to urge him not to cooperate with law enforcement, writing, the whole objective of this exercise by the federal prosecutors is to drain you emotionally and financially until you reach a point that you see them as your only means to salvation. In the same email, lawyer C wrote, "You are making a very big mistake if you believe the stories these journalists are writing about you. They want you to cave. They want you to fail. They do not want you to persevere and succeed." All right, I got to do it here. I got to do it. Michael, look, Michael. You see here, all right. The whole objective of this exercise by the federal prosecutors is to drain you emotionally and financially until you reach that point that you see them as your only means to salvation. Capiche? You are making a very big mistake. If you believe the stories that these journalists are writing about you, they want you to cave. They want you to fail, see? They do not want you to persevere and succeed. On August 21st, 2018, lawyer A pleaded guilty in the federal investigation. The next day, on or about August 22nd, 2018, the defendant commented on Twitter, "If anyone is looking for a good lawyer, I would strongly suggest that you don't retain the services of Michael Cohen." Later that day, the defendant posted to Twitter again, stating, "I feel very bad for..." and then one of his former campaign managers who had been criminally charged, saying, I'm guessing Steve Bannon? I don't remember, honestly. I guess I could go back and find the tweet, but let's just keep going. "Unlike Michael Cohen, he refused to make up stories in order to get a deal." Lawyer A and AMI admit guilt in connection with payoffs of Woman 1 and Woman 2. Ultimately, other participants in the scheme admitted that the payoffs were unlawful. In or about September 2018, AMI entered into a non-prosecution agreement with the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in connection with AMI's payoff of Woman 1, admitting that at no time during the negotiation or acquisition of Woman 1 story did AMI intend to publish the story or disseminate information about it publicly. Rather, AMI admitted that it made the payment to ensure that Woman 1 did not publicize damaging allegations about the defendant before the 2016 presidential election and thereby influence that election. Can't believe you can't trust the parent company of the National Enquirer. Unbelievable. In August 21st, 2018, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to a felony in connection with his role in AMI's payoff to Woman 1, admitting in his guilty plea that he had done so at Trump's direction. On or about the summer of 2016, in coordination with and at the direction of a candidate for federal office, I and the CEO of a media company at the request of the candidate worked together to keep an individual with information that would be harmful to the candidate and to the campaign from publicly disclosing this information. After a number of discussions, we eventually accomplished this goal by the media company entering into a contract with the individual under which she received compensation of $150K. I participated in this conduct, which on my part took place in Manhattan for the principal purpose of influencing the election. Cohen also pleaded guilty to a felony in connection with his payoff of Woman 2. To secure her silence against the defendant's direction, lawyer A. Cohen admitted as part of his guilty plea. On or about October of 2016, in coordination with and in the direction of the same candidate, I arranged to make a payment to a second individual with the information that would be harmful to the candidate and to the campaign to keep the individual from disclosing the information. To accomplish this, I used a company that was under my control to make a payment in the sum of $130K. The monies I advanced to my company were later repaid to me by the candidate. I participated in this conduct, which on my part took place in Manhattan for the principal purpose of influencing the election. And that's it. That's the whole thing. That's the deal here. That's what's going on. I mean, this is a big deal, I think. Again, don't think anything's going to come out of it, but the fact that it happened is definitely a big deal. And who knows? Maybe Trump will. There'll be a trial, probably. I'm assuming, and we'll see what happens. Right? Again, I don't think he's not gonna go to jail, but who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what they'll. I mean, if they just find him guilty and there's some sort of, it'll be a big deal. Yeah, it is. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. All right, let's let's should I play that Marjorie Taylor Greene clips? Should I play those Marjorie Taylor Greene clips? You know what? Let's leave that for the second half of the show. This was an hour-long episode. It's usually an hour-long episode, but I mean, like, that's I'm giving you guys a full episode. And we'll play the Marjorie Taylor Greene clips in the second half. But before we go to the second half of the show, I'll take calls in the second half, too. You can call into the show by opening up Skype and searching Doomed Live. Doomed Live. And I take the calls as they come in. Anyone could call. You don't have to be a subscriber, which I'll get to in a second. You just have to tune in for the second half of the show on the live stream. I will also read all super chats at youtube.com/MattBinder. I will read all Twitch donations and subscriptions at twitch.tv/MattBinder. I will say that, I don't know what happened. Well, I do. Well, let me get to both of these really quick. This is where I do my usual promotion, right? My self promos, right? It's been a rough beginning of April in terms of the show, in terms of growing this show, because I guess a lot of people's Twitch subscriptions lapsed. I guess a lot of people's Patreon subscriptions lapsed. We got a number of declines, which happens. Cards expire. People have to cancel due to financial difficulties. Totally get that. This isn't... If you cannot afford to support this show, please just enjoy. You could... Many other ways you could support this show. Share the content. Let people know about the show. Follow me. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me wherever you're on social media. And share the show. Share the podcast version of the show at doomcast.com. Make your own clips of the show and share it. That's a big help. But if you can afford to become a paying supporter, that'd be awesome. I'd really, really appreciate it. Patreon.com/MattBinder is the best way to support this show. With a regular monthly subscription. I ask for $5 per month. You can give more. You can give less. Giving more or giving less, you don't get anything extra. Maybe as time, I've been saying this, I really should think of additional tiers and stuff. But I'm not going to talk about the future and what could be, because we all know that I don't have the capacity to to deliver in the time frame I would like in terms of the bonus sort of additional ideas I have. But your support could help me bring on board people to help me roll out these ideas and stuff. So patreon.com/MattBinder to support this show. And I want to thank the people who have become Patreon subscribers. And again, this last month was very slow. So it is what it is. It is what it is, yeah. It is what it is. And the people who joined since the last show hold on. It takes a second to pull up sometimes. Matt S. Upped their pledge. Thank you so much, Matt. Tanya K became a patron. Brian M upped their pledge. Thank you so much, Brian. Bryce G and Brian C became new patrons. Thank you so much to all of you. And hopefully there'll be new patrons to announce next week. Patreon.com/MattBinder. You can also support this show by connecting your Amazon Prime account, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, to your Twitch account, and you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. And what does that mean? It means, for no extra cost to you, you force Amazon to share part of your Amazon Prime subscription with one Twitch creator each month. So if you don't do that, you're basically giving extra money to Amazon. If you do want to do that, I'm telling you about it because I hope you give it to me. And let me thank the people who just did that. Titus FF, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much, Titus. Tokyo Hans, resubscribe with Prime. Subscriber for 10 months in a row. Thank you, Tokyo Hans. Nicole Bolas Planeswalker, resubscribe with Prime. Subscriber for 2 months. Thank you so much, Nicole. X Drac IIX, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. Cutthroat 1789 gave out 2 community gift subs. Thank you, Cutthroat. Cutthroat also resubscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. They've been a subscriber for 4 months. And Cutthroat says, I'm definitely not a Jimmy Dore throwaway. Thank you, Cutthroat. End. Subscribe with Prime. Thank you, buddy. And I think that's everybody since the last show. Yep, that's everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, and Corn Pop for Prez. Resubscribe with Prime. Subscriber for 10 months. Binder rule, says Corn Pop for Prez. Thank you, Corn Pop for Prez. In fact, you rule. All right, with all that said, let's go to the second half of the show. If you are a Patreon subscriber, or if you're just watching this show live on YouTube and Twitch right now, nothing will change for you. Just either catch the bonus material when it goes up if you're a Patreon subscriber, which, let me address that. There have been people who say they have not received it. There's been a problem with Twitch. Not Twitch. There's been a problem with Patreon for a while. And I should have it fixed. And this episode should go up finally. This should be the first bonus episode to actually go up on Patreon like it's supposed to in quite some time, actually. I have all the other bonus episodes for you guys to listen to, audio only and everything. I got to find a way to get it to you all, the ones that weren't going up on Patreon. Because Patreon doesn't let you backdate stuff. And the last thing I want to do is upload dozens of episodes at once and just fill your feed with that stuff. And they'd be old episodes too, so it wouldn't make sense. I know people like listening to the older episodes. Some of it is pretty evergreen. But it just doesn't make sense to fill up the Patreon feed that way. I got to figure out a way to get you guys the stuff that hasn't been going up on Patreon. But you should start getting it in your feed again. The issue should be fixed. If you're watching live on YouTube and Twitch, nothing changes for you. I will briefly put up the doomed title card and grab a drink, and then I'll be back to take calls and play that Marjorie Taylor Greene clips. Oh, we just got a Patreon coming in at the nick of time. Bahamut, thank you so much for becoming a patron. And anyone who becomes a patron today gets double thanks, because I'm going to read you next week too, for sure, as a new subscriber. And if you're listening to the audio-only version of the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or directly at doomcast.com, you should leave a review, by the way, if you're listening there. Don't forget to leave reviews for the show if you haven't already. If you're just listening to the audio-only podcast version of this show, this is where I say, I will see you next time on Doomed.
cycles collapse. Corporate fascism, corporate journalism. Police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, educate the masses, rampant homophobia, armed strength.
We got our first caller. Hey, where you calling from?
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today?
I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. Really? I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, we are back, everyone. Welcome to Doomed with Matt Binder, the second half of the show where I take your calls. You can call into the show by going to patreon.com/MattBinder. I'm just joking. I mean, definitely do that. But you can call into the show. Definitely do that and subscribe if you want to and can. But you can call into the show by going to Skype, searching Doomed Live, and we already have a number of callers calling in. Let's go right to the phones, give my voice a break after reading that all the indictment and statement of fact and everything. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Josh from California. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Josh, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. So I have a couple of things I want to talk about. First, I don't know, I assume you've probably seen the story about the head of the police union in San Jose.
We talked about it on Majority Report on Thursday.
Yeah. So what you may not have heard is she was dealing fentanyl out of
right. And I made the comment that they need to extract her DNA. Oh wait, hold on. I just clicked something. Hold on. Kowalski, I accidentally brought you on the call. I gotta kick you out. Call back in after this. I'm sorry, buddy. No, that was my bad. I shouldn't have. I clicked you. Josh, you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Let me actually call right back in. I want to make sure that didn't mess anything up because it still says Kowalski's name on it, and I don't want it to mess up anything. Just call right back.
All right.
Anyway, like I was saying, I joked that they need to extract that San Jose police chief's DNA in order to create a vaccine for police officers, because she might be the first cop I've ever seen who's able to interact physically with fentanyl and not immediately collapse and start having seizures.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it helps that she's a grandmother and not actually a cop. So she's just the head of the police union. She's never been a police officer.
Oh, wait, she wasn't? I'm sorry. I assumed she was. My bad.
No, she was just the head of the union for whatever reason. Probably because she was dealing them all fentanyl, but that's a whole, She's been doing it for 8 years, so the drug dealing. Who knows I don't know how long she's been the head of the union. But what was really interesting, that's really interesting in general anyways, but there's an organization that's been behind the recall efforts of both progressive-ish DAs that were elected in the Bay Area. So one, they succeeded Chesa Boudin in San Francisco, and Pamela Price is the DA in Alameda County, which is where Oakland is. And she hasn't even been in office for 90 days yet, so they can't recall her yet. But they've already started a change.org petition with like thousands, because she supposedly doesn't care about Asians or whatever. I don't know, or she's racist against Asians or whatever. But the point is that, and it's actually the local press here, it's specifically ABC7 is really going after her, just like they went after Chesa Boudin, and it's very interesting because they're actually owned by ABC corporate, so they're not like a Sinclair station where you would think that they have a editorial direction. But maybe Disney hates equality as well. But basically, there's this PAC that shares the address with the police union headquarters, like where she was signing for all of this stuff, all of the fentanyl and whatever, where she was having everything shipped. That's the headquarters of this PAC, the registered address of this PAC that's been behind a lot of the funding and advertising behind the recall efforts, and like the boots on the ground signature collection and that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating, just like how corrupt it is, and not just that, but like how obvious it is that they're dead set against allowing anyone to be a DA who in any way promises in their campaign to hold them accountable when they murder someone.
Right.
Because Oakland is again, Oakland PD is once again under, what is it? What do they call it when the department is under a federal show cause or something like that? I can't remember the name of it, but they failed for the 20th year in a row to make any progress towards meeting the standards to getting off of that federal order. So it's really great.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean it's just absolutely incredible, and that again, like this ABC7 won't cover it at all. Instead they chose to cover this woman, who I'm not a huge fan of. Like a lot of this, she asked them to call her Madam DA, which like go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, like, but like all of that kind of crap where it's like, I get it, you want to be respected and whatever, but bosses suck, and like, but the news is covering it like, oh well, they had a closed door meeting, and in this she gave a like sort of a welcoming speech, and she only got golf claps or whatever, and it's like, who cares? I hate all of my bosses. I never applaud for anything they do. That's not the point. You pay me, I do work for you. That's our relationship. We're not friends. Like, if you want to pay me extra to applaud when you say stuff, I guess. But,
Right.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was I disagree with your take on Roman Reigns.
Oh no! This is where we're gonna have to fight. Fighting words.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So I actually think he should have lost and the Usos should have retained.
No.
Because I think the story of him, because then I think what happens is the story gets, and I think because Cody was the one who had sort of helped reunite KO and Sami Zayn, he still would have been involved in that storyline, I think.
No, I think they did the right move. I think they did the right move. You're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get me to change my mind, buddy.
Even with Brock Lesnar coming out and
I actually think that's the one.
absolutely destroying him the next night.
I actually think that's the one good move they did on Monday Night Raw. That's the one good.
I just could not disagree more.
No, it's good. It's good. Let Brock and Cody feud. That's gonna elevate Cody. As long as
I
as long
don't
as
think
Cody.
anyone comes out of feuding with Brock Lesnar looking better.
Are you serious? Really?
Yeah.
No way. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, all those guys feuded with Brock.
Everyone hated Roman for like 5 years.
Yeah, but that wasn't Brock's fault. Brock elevated him on the level that this guy could beat Brock. It wasn't Brock's fault that they were pushing Roman as the face when nobody liked him at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's some treat, but Dean Ambrose looked way worse.
Again, that's the booking though with that one. They just didn't see Dean Ambrose as the guy. But if you fight Brock and win, like Drew McIntyre became an instant main eventer. The only thing that sucked for Drew McIntyre was it happened during the pandemic. He would have been, he got screwed because of that. But he beat Brock. That put him on a whole new level. People look at him differently ever since then.
I think he's kind of back where he was.
I think that has mostly to do with the pandemic and not to do with Brock.
It could be, yeah. No, I agree with that. And like the follow up,
Dude never got to hold up that title in front of a packed crowd. It's amazing.
Well,
I always thought they would give him that chance to redo it. Not like pretend it never happened, but just like give him another shot to have the title reign he should have had. And they never did, and I thought that sucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I don't think he was ever going to be as hot as he would have been coming off a Mania win like that.
Right. No,
And-
I'm gonna do more episodes on wrestling coming up. Honestly, especially with the merger between UFC and WWE by UFC's parent company Endeavor. Christ, yeah. I mean, and by doing this, they officially bring Vince McMahon back into the fold after he retired after those the sexual assault allegations from last summer.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also just well, I mean, that's not what's his Ari Emanuel basically said McMahon wanted to retire or whatever, and I wouldn't let him. I made him came back.
I'm pretty sure that's for real. Like I'm pretty sure that Vince would have been done, and then the guy from Endeavor convinced him to come back.
Yeah, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. It's poor Shane. Speaking of McMahon's coming back.
I mean, Shane was never going to get it. Vince clearly does not like Shane.
Oh no,
I think. Oh right. I mean,
that's like
honestly,
come on, he just wanted to have one more nice night, and it's I
guess
he tore his quad.
I guess. Listen, I used to be a Shane fan. I think his more recent runs sullied his legacy. I thought he wasn't as good and he wasn't as entertaining. He was kind of annoying, actually.
Yeah.
And he should have. I actually think, like, man, imagine Stephanie and Triple H, how they feel. Like, they actually did everything right. Didn't go against Dad like Shane did at various points. Did everything to ingratiate themselves within, Vince's good graces. Dedicated their life to it, unlike Shane, again, who went off and did his own thing for a while and helped his mom out too. And they don't get.
No, I agree with you, but hang on, you just brought something up I want to say. Like, Shane wanted to buy the UFC. He wanted Vince to buy the UFC.
This was a while ago, right?
In like 2002. Can you imagine how much fucking money these people would? I mean, they're still getting $9 billion, although it's in stock, but they're still getting a shit ton of money. But if WWF had owned or WWE had owned UFC in like 2002, right before it started getting really, really hot.
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like the yeah, kissing his ass for that long, and Triple H and Stephanie both are. Although supposedly Triple H is going to stay there for the whole thing, but and maintain his position. But yeah, Stephanie clearly got forced off the board and out of out of her position and everything else when he came back to the board.
All right, and Triple H is doing a good job. Triple H is doing a good job running the storylines with Vince Gunn. Honestly, it was probably the best couple of months in WWE in years.
Yeah, I thought it was well run.
Yeah. All right, man. Always a pleasure to talk with you, Josh. I will talk to you next time.
All right, take it easy.
Peace. There's elections to get to. Let me. I know exactly who's calling right now, front and center. Because I know they want to talk wrestling. Can you call? I will definitely take your call. Can you call back in like maybe 20 minutes? If even that, maybe even less, like 10 minutes? I promise I'll take your call before tonight ends. I just really got to get to this election stuff. I think Kowalski's going to talk to me about this election stuff. Let's see. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski.
That's how I knew it. Are you going to talk to me about
it? What?
What do you want to talk about?
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. My bad. Yeah, I could hear you. So it's Kowalski, and I was curious, did you by chance get something in the mail recently?
Oh, I almost forgot. Yes, I did get something in the mail recently.
Have you opened it yet?
I did not, because I believe you wanted me to do it on air.
Yes. Oh, so you actually got my message then on Twitter.
I did see that one, yes.
Okay, good. I was concerned that you hadn't, and I thought it would be cool if you could
I think I
share
actually
it.
saw it. I think I actually saw it in my email, actually. Because I could, it's so hard to, my DM, they really, I mean, I'm not expecting anything from Musk. It's too bad they didn't do this before Musk took over. DMs, there's no way to manage your DMs. It's just a fucking mess.
Oh, that's true. I don't usually use Twitter all that much, but I think it's been the only way I've ever been able to direct message you. So, yeah, I thought it'd be cool you open this thing on air because
All right, let's do it. I wanted to talk about, what'd you say?
Oh, I was going to say I had gotten a lot of people in the MR orbit a bunch of gifts, and I couldn't leave you out this time. So,
Ooh, all right, let's see.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Give me a second. Let's see. I'll go grab it.
All right, how's the chat doing, everyone? I'm not really seeing you guys write anything at the moment. Oh, it's a bit delayed. Tokyo Hans, hello. I see you there. It is definitely a trap, but he's not here for the warning. I saw John Wick. Well, thanks for the spoilers.
All right, here we go. Thank you for holding it down, Kowalski. Let's see. All right, I gotta be careful because our address, both your address and my address, are on this box.
I live at 1-800-6. No.
But it does. Let me see. Let me make sure I block this. I do want to point out. I think I got it. I do want to point out. Oh my god, that the box says "Old Matt" on it.
Yeah, because I also got one for new Matt, and I needed to make sure.
So you made sure to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got this box. I'm gonna hold it this way. I'll open it upside down so I definitely.
Well, actually, it's fine. I actually wrapped your gift, or they're in another box within the box.
Okay.
Boxception. It's
All
fine.
Right. So let's do this. Here we go. Opening the box Kowalski sent me. I swear this would be an amazing way to come out as a conservative and send me something harmful.
I don't want to anger the entire Doom community.
This would be amazing if Kowalski played the long game and just took out every member of MR. Did they open theirs already? Do you know?
Yeah, everyone has except for Matt, new Matt, who I believe is still off at grand jury duty, indicting the president. And then
that's with him. That was him. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that was him. The
I
guy
actually
from
didn't even know he was off on jury duty.
Grand jury duty. He's gone for a month.
Oh damn! All right, here we go.
Open the white one first. There is a pattern to it.
I'm being extra careful with because of the address. I should have blurred the addresses out like with marker before, but I totally forgot to prepare to open it.
You
on
need to
air.
get that PO box. We've
There
talked
we go.
about this.
Yeah, I know. All right, here we go. I can show this. No, the box, no name. It says Old Matt. Let's see what's in here. The tape was already ripped open.
That's
should point
fine.
out.
That's
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hope no one has been rummaging through whatever you got me. All right. Looks like we got some sort of bottle. Oh my God. No way. No way, man. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I got to shut off the
yeah.
green screen. Hold on. I got to shut off the green screen so people can see it. Look at that. That's awesome. It's like a travel mug with the
Yeah.
Doomed logo.
Open it up.
Oh, open it up. There's something inside? Oh my God.
The long con finally worked. Oh my God.
Oh no, you got me. Oh, I blew it by by doing it slowly. I don't know why I did it slowly.
Such a lame
Oh,
thing
damn.
to do, but
Oh no. All right. I don't know where I'm going to put this thing now. I barely got
I would
enough
put
room.
it back in the cup and use it on your children.
Right. I got to do that, but I can't do that right.
No.
All right. Let's put this aside. And there's another box, right?
Yeah, I did the same thing to Sam, so you got the same Sam treatment. So I had put
Let me open this
snacks in the other one.
box.
So
Oh, okay. I'm sure you did. I'm going to get another snake, aren't I?
damn, that would have been brilliant.
All right. Let's see what we got here.
Nervously opening every package for the rest
there
of his
we go.
life.
Cool. It actually is snacks. Got some Oreos. Got some High Chews. Got some Chips Ahoy. I love it, man. Thank you so much. That's so kind. I love this cup. Really, it's really, really nice of you. That's awesome. I really like it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. You you do a lot of good work. I thought it'd be kind of cool to get you something like custom made. Initially, the other side of the cup was going to have the scam economy like logo and thing on it. But if you can believe it, Doom has no trademark flags on it. Scam economy does.
Really? What
So
was the
no one will manufacture without the express permission of the podcast.
Really?
It was bizarre to me. Yeah.
Uh,
Doomed, fine.
I-
Yes, or the ESVN was fine. The
So what is a trademark for scam economy?
or
I
it could just be sitting off some random thing with Google for all I know. But
I mean
yeah.
that's no one else has. I mean, even if someone has a trademark for scam, I gotta check this out.
When their respond email to me, it mentioned you by name.
Oh,
That it
really?
was your property, and
Oh,
that I
shit.
did not have permission to use
Damn,
it. So
that's
I'm
how you know
guessing-
scamming. That's how
yeah.
you know scam economy took the fuck off, right? Everyone should be clear now which show is bringing me the fame and fortune at this point.
Yeah,
Because I don't
so-
have I haven't registered a trademark for it.
See, Sam said the same thing to me when I had a custom baseball made for him. He said that they didn't trademark the Majority Report logo, like the glasses where it says the Majority Report and all that. But I got the same message back from them on that they could not make it because they didn't have the legal permission from the owner. So, yeah.
Wow.
But Doom, apparently, that's open to the public. That's free.
You
That's
know
the
what?
commons.
I bet it's because Doomed is such a generic name. Like scam economy is obviously like a brand name, whereas Doomed is just like a dictionary word,
True. That
That's
would make
probably,
sense.
yeah, I bet that has something to do with it. I mean, that's why for the podcast, I call the show it's officially called Doomed with Matt Binder because of that issue. I didn't want to make it so generic people couldn't know what it was. That's also, I think, why over the years I've considered changing the name Doomed, but it just stuck. And you got stuff like this, which I gotta shut off the green screen again. 1 second. I mean, how do I? It's hard at this point. That's why it just makes sense to keep rolling out new shows with better names.
Well, I didn't really have anything else to say. I just wanted to share that, try to get my April Fool's prank in, which I guess was I would call this a success. So,
I appreciate. My only regret is that I opened the. I really was not expecting anything fancy. I thought it was gonna open up, and I thought there'd be like candy inside of it. If I knew to expect something that would be for show for everyone to see and make fun of me, I would have definitely held it up on screen and done it. I regret not doing that.
see, I tried doing this to Sam, but for some reason their package thing didn't show up when they thought, and then they opened it up after their show anyways, and apparently it did give Sam a bit of a jump scare. So I wish that could have been live, but unfortunately we missed that. So now I got to come up with a new prank with him. So I'm working that out in the Discord with the MR community. So there will, come a day. But
Oh,
yeah,
hold on. If I just want to point out that if a new prank means sending people more swag, I just want to point out. That the prank you successfully, quote unquote, played on me wasn't caught on air or video. So essentially, you would need to also send me additional swag and prank me again too, for the sake of just what you want to get out of it.
all right. I'm thinking a 55-gallon drum of something.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Maybe I'll do a giveaway outside my building afterwards.
That would be. I'll do some scheming. We'll see what we can pull off next time. But before I go, I'm going to send you another direct message on Twitter. It's something secretive, so you're going to be on the inside on this. Just yeah, just take a look at it later. But I'm gonna head out. I've taken up enough time, so.
Sounds good. Someone in the chat has a good idea for a prank. Kidnap his family.
Just a casual felony. Why not?
Right, just like, hey man, you on air, right? Oh yeah. Do me a favor, just really quick. Just go check your kid's bedroom, really quick.
Oh my god. All
All
right.
right, okay, yeah, let me go do that.
You have a good night, man.
Have a good night. Peace. All right. Really quick. Because honestly, I've failed you guys here. I have not been following, unfortunately, the elections that happened today. I mean, I've been following them for my own personal wanting to see what's going on, but I haven't been following them enough to cover them in a way where I would be conveying expertise to you all. But I will say, it looks like it's been a good night for progressives. In Chicago, Brandon Johnson, the progressive candidate, beat Paul Vallas, the Democrat in name only, literally a Republican who just ran as a Democrat because it's Chicago. And Brandon Johnson will be the next mayor of Chicago, which is great. He ran a great race. He seems like a great candidate. Bernie Sanders endorsed him. We even went to Chicago to endorse him. And then in Wisconsin. Now I'm not that familiar. The Wisconsin races I wasn't following that closely. But it seems like in Wisconsin, they flipped the Supreme Court, the Wisconsin Supreme Court, from conservative to liberal. This is huge. I mean, it's huge. or when it's a big deal. We've been seeing a huge shift since Trump's win in states like Wisconsin and Michigan. Oh, let me. We got a call coming in. Let's take this call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good choice. Hey, Matt, I'm Rachel from Chicago. How you doing?
Oh, perfect. Rachel from Chicago. I don't know why, but I had a feeling.
Yes.
I mean, have you called in the show before?
No, never.
Right,
I watch
but
all the time, though.
I had a feeling I've never talked to you before, but something about whenever I brought up the election throughout the episode so far, I swear your name would pop up on the Skype. And I said to myself, all right, someone here wants to talk about the election. So perfect
For
timing.
sure.
So glad to talk to you for the first time. I love first time callers. I got to ask, discovered the show from Majority Report. Where'd you find out?
Majority Report.
Had a feeling. Cool. So Rachel, what would you like to talk about?
Well, the election. That's the only thing that could possibly spur me to make a phone call right now because I'm a very tired person. But yeah, the first thing I said in the chat when I got here was, Matt, I don't know how to do Skype, but Brandon Johnson fucking won. Like, I didn't think I said fucking, but very excited.
I say it's worthy of a fucking, like, you can throw that in there.
It's shocking because the city was about to elect a Republican who everyone knew was a Republican, who called himself a Democrat, and that worked. And he had a lot of support from like legacy, ultra popular, old school Chicago Democrats from all over, like a big coalition. Hi, puppy. So it was an uphill thing, but I think it just made me call in right now was when you mentioned Bernie Sanders support him. Bernie Sanders came out and had a huge rally here. And I'm convinced that's because it's a very close, he's going to win, but it's still like by a small margin. I think that actually could have made a huge difference. Honestly, just that getting that kind of an endorsement, along with like the teachers union, which is huge here. He's on the stage right now about to do his acceptance speech actually.
There we go.
Yeah. It's just really surprising. He looks like a really great candidate. He looks like he might actually not go back on every goddamn thing he's saying he's going to do. We just had a terrible mayor.
Oh,
I mean, Lori Lightfoot really was awful.
I will say incredible content, though. Incredible content.
Oh my God. Listen, from beginning to end, content machine completely. When I saw that, like the best meme ever was her with the case of beer. Man, she's meme worthy. When she was like, done with everything and she's like, no, I'll just take the 24 pack of like Modelo or whatever. Like one of the last pictures are going into City Hall right after she lost. She was an interesting choice. It didn't work out. It wasn't, even when she first was running, it seemed like she might be good. But right within the first like 2-3 months, it was just it was like, and then COVID happened, but you can only blame that so much. We've had some time after that. So in any event, it was definitely time for a change, but not like whiplash to Paul Vallis.
Right.
Like
right.
The opposite end of the spectrum.
Has Paul Vallis officially conceded? Because last I saw he hadn't.
Absolutely.
He did?
When your show, the second half first came on is right when I stopped. There was that break, so I wasn't listening to anything. I'm looking at the TV, and it looked like everyone standing around Paul Vallis was so sad, and I was like, oh, they're sad. And I turned it up, and sure enough, they're all sad because he's conceding. Because at first I didn't know what was going on. I hadn't been watching for a couple hours. So anyway, he conceded. It was actually a lovely concession speech, and he said he already called Brandon Johnson, told me he fully expects him to be the next mayor, and he'll do whatever he can to help support him, and blah blah blah. And perfectly lovely except the concession speech. And yeah.
All right.
I'm shocked.
Did you see that apparently the Chicago Police Union said that if Brandon Johnson won, hundreds of officers may resign?
Oh, that's nice. I really wish that was true. And if they did, okay, there are a few too many of them.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
spending a little too much money on,
Right.
I
Don't
don't
threaten
even,
me
it's
with a
some
good time,
ridiculous
right?
number. Yeah, just please. But for the love of God, just go. No extra overtime for 100 extra cops. Yeah, our city could definitely use that money somewhere. By all means, they're not making anything any safer. More guns doesn't make things less, more safe from gun violence. More cops just mean more guys with guns. It's not going great. So, and that's, Brandon Johnson, of course, when, people are allowed to evolve their ideas about things at a certain point, many people, he was very fed up with the police. And at first was like, yeah, defund the freaking police. I'm done. I don't want it. And he has way walked that back since then, which he had to in order to be an actual viable candidate in this race. He couldn't be a viable candidate in this particular race by any stretch of the imagination if he had all been affiliated with the concept for a little bit of defund the police for ages now. And all of his campaigning is like, that was a long time ago. I've evolved, but I still think we need to fix some of this with the cops. He's not saying no police reform. He's saying tons of police reform, but like they're trying to nail him to being the defund the police candidate. All these like crazy right wing attack ads against him. He's running in against another Democrat, and they're like right wing kind of narrative attacks coming at him, like very, I don't know.
No,
He was running against a Republican who was calling himself a Democrat. I don't know how to explain it, but it was
right.
ridiculous.
No, right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I
and they had
honestly,
so much more money, and yeah.
yeah, I didn't. I was following the race in terms of watching all the endorsements and support of Brandon Johnson, and just reading up a little bit on Paul Vallis. I mean, I was reading that he like was involved with basically completely privatizing all
Yeah.
schools in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's been doing that. Yeah, and he similar sort of resume in other cities like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
not all schools in Philadelphia, but
And he kind of tried to do that here to some degree, or like he got more resistance here than I guess he got in other places, so it wasn't able to like complete his vision. And he was like widely hated. Like that's why the teachers union was never going to endorse Vallis. The Chicago Teachers Union, which is a big deal in Chicago.
right.
They were no way in hell they're endorsing Vallis because they're still pissed at him. The schools are still pissed at him and still trying to undo some of the crap that he did.
Right.
Just financially to some of these schools too, and like schools that got turned charter, and just a lot of garbage. A lot of garbage. Maybe I don't have to think about or see anything about for God knows how long now, because he's not around unless he's running for some random shit all of a sudden again. The guy just pops up and runs for shit, and then he goes away. I don't hear from him for 4 years. So good. At least I won't have to see him for a while because he got beat. Thank God. If I had to see his mug as my mayor for the next God knows how long, I swear to you, I just don't like that guy. I'm not a fan. So yeah, good stuff. Good progressive stuff in Chicago tonight. I love your show. I'm a very big fan. I watch every week. So does my big puppy. Yes.
What kind of dog you got?
He's a pit bull.
Cool. I just got a dog too.
Yes.
I think you probably heard if you listen to
Yes.
the show. Yeah.
Yes. How old is your dog?
He is now 14 weeks, I believe.
Oh yeah, more of a baby than mine. I think mine's about almost 9 months.
Okay.
He's a big baby.
I think. When does a dog stop being a baby, right?
Honestly, when I first got the puppy, I thought I knew, I'm 41 years old. I think I've had many dogs, whatever. I haven't had a puppy in a really long time. Wonder why. I don't really like them that much, like puppies themselves. I like having a puppy, so I know them like from when they're very young. That's great. But dealing with all the puppy stuff sucks.
Yeah, I'm not it's been last time I had a puppy, I was 3 years old. I've had dogs since, but I haven't had a puppy.
Exactly.
I don't know why people want puppies.
Right. No, me either. That's the only thing is that like I know them from when they're young. That's an advantage. Other than that, there's no reason.
Right.
Suck.
I wish he was your dog's age already. I'm because I can see him, like I could see what he will become.
He will be good.
Deep within
Me
him.
too.
Yeah. Within him. But
he will be good.
He's not there yet though, and he's not even close to being there.
He sucks.
Like he's got
sucks.
his moments.
He's the worst. Yeah. Oh, but exactly. No. Like at least once a week, I'm like, oh God, I do love God. My kid does love you too. I'm stuck with this dog, but I love him. But every now and again, yes, he has his good moments. I will tell you, he got it's I guess this thing. I guess they can become teenagers, which is ridiculous, but it makes so much sense. They're good. They're like really crappy when they're right around the age, yours is right now. And then they mellow out around 6 months and they're mellow for like a second and it's amazing, like a whole month. And then before you know it, they're a teenager and they're a total jerk. And anything you thought they had undone, they do again. Any jerkwad thing, tons of attitude in your face, just jerk. Worse than he was when he was the worst before. So look forward to that garbage. I'm hoping it'll end soon. I'll write a letter and let you know. I don't know if it's ever going to end. Because right now he's chewing on a Tupperware. Like, where
Yeah.
did he get it? Like,
Right.
why does he have a
They
Tupperware?
chew on everything. It doesn't. It
It's
just.
clean. I mean, it's clean from the
We
cupboard, but
we have a ton of chew toys we bought for him. Doesn't matter.
right.
He wants everything but.
Why would
Everything but.
no?
We have a
He
cat.
has a whole bucket.
We have a cat, and he destroys the cat's toys because cat's toys aren't made
Oh yeah.
for dogs to chew on. But he
Yeah.
wants to play with the cat's toys. Wants nothing to do with his
Yeah.
toys. Wants to play with my kids' toys. Destroy my
Right.
my son and
Oh.
daughter's toys. Doesn't want anything to do with
Completely
his
trash
toys. Though.
them. Especially bath toys. He gets a hold of the bath toys and lose. I mean, he can destroy. When he was little, it was cute, but now he can destroy anything. So he is destructo, but he doesn't want his own toys. I have a bucket. If we were on video, I have a whole bin. I could jump into it like it was a ball pit. Like it's huge. He doesn't bones, chew toys. There's a piece of fur in there, a nice piece of fur. Nothing. He doesn't want any of his good toys. He wants to join a Tupperware. So he's chewed on Tupperware for the last 10 minutes. Kept him occupied while he talked to you. Yeah. Puppies are the worst, but he will be a good dog. And I have to hold that thought in my head.
Right.
He will be a good boy. And see, right now, right this minute, he isn't barking or whining or scratching me. So I feel like I'm winning. No, but it's a tiring situation. He's a good boy.
Do you because we watch the training videos and we it's
Yeah.
recommended that when they're this age, you do need to put them in the cage to cage train them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's super duper crate trained. He's actually I got him in the crate right when I first got him, tiny, and he's always been in the crate. The only thing I broke on very early on was having him sleep in bed with me at night. But other than that, like during the day, I work from home and he stays in the crate for the majority of like the early morning into the, late morning, early afternoon. Happily,
Right.
he just sleeps and I work and
Oh,
there's no
He's not
issue.
he's not sleeping in the bed until he's completely trained. I do not trust him to not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
No.
you were playing with fire there. You might have gotten lucky. I don't know.
He had one accident when he was very little. But I would make sure to like wake up in the middle of the night and I would just, take him out just in case. Because I had to anyway. It was easier for me to remember to do it if he was in bed with me. Otherwise, I'm such a sound sleeper. I was afraid I wasn't going to wake up in the middle of the night to take him out when he was like still a little bit younger, and I had to take him out, later in the night. So luckily it worked out. But yeah, it was dicey. It wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to do at the very beginning. But yeah, I let him sleep in bed with me. Other than that, he just stays. He stays in the crate. He does excellent with that. He's actually very good in many ways, but there's a ton of training that it's been freezing cold here. He's always been a scaredy cat. He doesn't want to come up and down the stairs. As he got bigger, it got harder and harder to carry him down. And now he's just, I don't know what to do. He's terrified to go down the stairs. I've have to drag him outside, which isn't right. You're not supposed to do that with dogs. It's not, it causes more trauma, but I have to try and get him to walk. And so for the last couple months, he's been pad trained for the most part because it's so hard to get him outside. So I need a behavioral therapist about that because I don't know what to do. It's pretty crazy to have a huge dog that's terrified to go outside and terrified to go down the stairs. And no amount of I've tried all kinds of training, all tricks, all kinds of things. Nothing's working. So we have to figure that out. He does have one dog friend. Maybe we'll teach him how to dog. That's my only idea. Dog friend from down the street might come by. Yeah. Teach you how to dog. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. He's into it. All right. There it is. I have to get him a better harness too, because last week I took him out and the harness I had that I thought was the good harness, I brought him outside. I almost lost him that many times, at least twice. Yeah. I almost lost him a couple times. It was terrifying. So I've got a whole situation going about.
Our dog is still too young to take out. We're not allowed to take him out yet.
It's the shots, right?
Yeah,
And you have to be careful because in the city it gets
yeah,
there will be places where parvo is so common
right.
in such a big city.
I mean, he's
It's
already
so
got
many dogs packed into such a small area each, where
right.
you are. It's very
Yes. We took him last week for one shot, but he still can't go out for a whole nother month for the
doesn't
next
that
shot.
suck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks because I'm worried about I want him to be trained, and for 2 months
Right.
now
Yeah.
he's gonna be
Yeah.
used to being trained to pee in the house. Yes, on the
I
pad,
agree.
but he's still training to
Yeah.
go in the house. I don't.
Exactly.
He's got to learn after 2 months of doing it that he is no
Yeah.
longer allowed to go in the house. Because I'm not
Right.
leaving a pad out for him. He's gonna be a big dog. I'm like maybe he was a
Right.
little. Maybe he was gonna be like a little lap dog. You could leave a pad out,
Yeah.
but no pad for a dog that's gonna piss a whole a whole bowl full of pee. No, thank you.
Right. Yeah. No, completely. And it is, some dogs are fine going from, pad training, like outside compared to other dogs. Other dogs, you have a way harder time, and it is like having to completely retrain them. Other dogs will take to it. So it's not like the end of the world. But yeah, I agree. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
All right,
A big
Rachel.
dog peeing on pads is ridiculous.
You're right. All right, Rachel. This was a lot of fun. I think you and me are having a personal chat, and everyone
Yes.
is listening in.
Sorry, everyone.
I'm sorry I got carried away, everybody. I just got a dog. I'm having fun listening to someone else who has a dog close to my dog's age. Rachel, thank you for calling in with the update from Chicago on the election, which obviously was the main purpose of the call and the more important purpose of the call. Have a great night, and please call in again.
Thank you.
Great call.
Sure.
Have a good night.
Great talking to you, Matt. You too. Thanks. Bye.
God, I just noticed some people complaining in the chat. Sorry, I'm sorry about it. I didn't realize how long we went on for. I was having fun with it. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who's this?
Come on, you know who I am by now, Hansy, man.
I know. I gotta ask every time though.
I know. I get it. You know what I mean? I'm always nervous because I don't know how your chat's gonna take. I come in at random times and I'm a canon and I have 80 million conspiracies. So you know what I mean? I never know what I'm gonna get on here. I'm always afraid that the Illuminati will contact you and tell you not to take my call anymore because I'm getting too dangerous and all that type of. Okay, I'm sorry. I guess
I love your calls, man. I think you too hard on yourself. So why don't we get right into it? What would you like to talk about?
Okay, yeah, that's cool, man. I don't want to take too much of your time, but yeah, no, I was gonna talk to you about did you hear about? I know there's a lot of wrestling thing going on, but first, did you hear about the Rick Steiner shit?
I did. Scumbag. People who don't know, a trans woman wrestler came out over the weekend.
Very talented, by the way.
Yes.
Very talented, by the way.
She came out over the weekend. It was WrestleMania weekend, and when it's WrestleMania weekend, all these wrestlers who aren't even in the WWE usually all ascend to that city where WrestleMania is for various different indie shows, autograph signings, and there's a big one called WrestleCon. And while she was at WrestleCon, another one of the wrestlers there, who is a old school legendary wrestler, one of the Steiner brothers, Rick Steiner, apparently started saying some transphobic shit to her. Like I don't even know if heckling is the right word. It doesn't sound serious enough, honestly, for what he was doing. He was harassing her for just walking by and saying transphobic stuff. And so she went public with it. Really, the entire wrestling world, it seems to be behind her from what I've seen. The wrestlers who've come out to defend her or support her are in the vast majority. And WrestleCon even banned Rick Steiner from ever appearing at a WrestleCon again.
But it's odd though because now he has he's a legend contract in WWE, and this guy is on a Florida school board, by the way. Oh no, I forget what school board he's on. He's on a school board. Though.
He's on a school board.
So,
I saw that. I'm not sure where though. I forget where he's.
Some Cherokee, something it's called Cherokee something, or I forget what it is. But Leslie Lee was the one that mentioned it on Twitter of which school board he was on and all that. So that's how I kind of fell out because I follow him on Twitter. He's a wrestling guy too, right? So I follow him on Twitter about that, whatever, right? And I saw him tweeting about that. So so yeah, no, it's strange that like WWE they didn't make any. Everyone else, Impact, everyone made comments. WWE didn't make comments. You know what I mean? And now it's probably gonna like have residual effect for like his son Braun Breaker, who's in NXT, whatever, because there were audible boos for him when he was wrestling his show at NXT Stand and Deliver. I didn't know if you knew about that.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a little bit there for me. What'd you say?
So I
at
was
the end
saying that when Rick Steiner's son Braun Breaker in NXT was wrestling this past weekend at his show, like at the NXT show.
Oh, right. Yes, a great point. That's what I thought you said, but I wanted to make sure. Yeah, absolutely. Word is I hear, and it's just rumors right now, but word is, I mean, he lost the NXT title, and usually when that happens at WrestleMania weekend, the person who loses the NXT title loses the title because they're being called up to the main roster to be on Raw or SmackDown. And the rumor was Braun Breaker was supposed to be called up, and that might have been delayed because of what his dad did at WrestleCon. Now, listen, I don't think a son should be punished for his father's deeds if of course he doesn't agree or feel the same way as his father. If he's also in that category, then WWE's gonna have a real problem on their hands because they can't fucking have this guy on TV. But I also understand if everything's good and he's not that type of person. I understand the idea of maybe waiting a week or two for this to die down before bringing in the son of this guy onto TV.
No, definitely. What they call I'm the same way. I don't think somebody's kid should be held accountable. But the thing is, also at the same time, whenever I look at celebrity people, like the thing is, bro, I don't know if you ever dove deep into WWE's type of stuff, but I do notice, and I think like over time, someone needs to analyze it. There is definitely like a pipeline between the wrestling world and right-wing politics, because look how many wrestlers have run for office, and some that have got elected, but it just seems like there has been more of a push lately between, sometimes I think WWE cuts ties between some of these guys, not because they don't agree, they don't agree with them. I think it means go cause your problems, but don't we can't officially be tied with you. Between that ex-wrestler Drake Wuertz, who was a referee, he was running for a Florida, an Orange County position, whatever. So I don't know what do you think there's something there with the pipeline? Because I notice it more and more, especially since we've been you were talking about the by the way, that was hilarious how you're dunking on a lot of people that were shitting on you about not knowing about ECW, but that Krista Joseph guy, Big Dick Johnson, now he's on Turning Point USA. I honestly think, and maybe I'm wrong, whatever, but I think the fact that these right wing figures have become caricatures and personalities themselves, I feel it's gonna seep more in to even the wrestling product down the line. I feel if you see alt media people on these wrestling programs, that's when you know shit's gonna hit the fucking fan, if you know what I mean.
Right. For people who didn't know, by the way, Turning Point USA, I don't know if I mentioned this on this show yet. This guy who now works for Turning Point USA used to work for the WWE back in the day as a writer, I believe. But he was also an on-air character named Big Dick Johnson. And this character would run around in a thong, and he's a big individual, a large man, and I don't mean height-wise. And he would run around in a thong and a bow tie and literally grind on people, give lap dances to other men. Again, nothing wrong with that, but this is a program ostensibly for children. And or have as a large child demographic as their audience. There was also a time where he grabbed, and this is the one I used, a gif of this to showcase what he would do. He grabbed Sandman, a wrestler, Sandman Singapore cane, this big stick, and he grabbed it and mimicked jerking it off. And again, this is a guy, and I'm not judging this guy for doing what he did. I'm judging this guy for doing what he did and having the nerve then to go to Turning Point USA and work for them, and in his little bio say he's fighting for true conservative values. And a major thing that Turning Point USA does is fight against fight for anti-trans policies and fight against the whole drag thing. So that's what I was pointing out. This guy has the nerve to do that while he was doing what he was doing on WWE with children actually watching the show. It's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit.
The thing about that is like, okay, no, he's free to do that. But I always notice, bro, it was some of these Republican-run fucking places, like entertainment places, like their idea of like, oh look, someone like their biggest fear is somebody who's like dressed up like Big Dick Johnson to do that to them. So it's like, in a way, it is homophobic in a sense that like they always reduce it to that. Like for example, Howard Stern gets credit for interviewing Chris Kanyon about his experience in WWE, but then people forget right after like the interview portion, he's having like, oh, you're Chris Kanyon, you're the gay guy, right? Here, you wanna grab my staff's dicks and see what they're like. It's always like Republican nature to like always like pretend like you're for like you support that, but then you always present like the most homophobic version of them on your television, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like the whole process of the character. Like even when there was a sketch where Triple H was bringing out people that Vince McMahon had relations with in the program, it was like on the 25th anniversary of Raw, whatever. And then he brought out a bunch of women, and then he goes, okay, how about everyone that just slept with Vince McMahon at some point, whatever. And then all these men just started parading around, and Big Dick Johnson was one of them. Like Bastion Booger was there, Brooklyn Brawler, Pat Patterson. It was like one of the worst sketches ever, but it was like really telling about what goes on in Vince McMahon's fucking mind when he produces this kind of fucking bullshit. You know, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I feel when I talk my head off and you have to say whatever, I feel like okay, I gotta move on. But in general,
you brought up something I meant to mention on this show and totally forgot. This is a great call.
No, that's cool. I'll be done like in like 2 minutes. But I want to ask, did you watch WrestleMania at all this weekend?
Oh, I watched the entire both shows front to back, the whole thing from beginning to end.
Yeah, what's it called? If you just watched WrestleMania Night 1, that probably would have been a highlight because that was a good show. The WrestleMania.
I tweeted out at the end of both Saturday and Sunday's shows. I tweeted that if you took the triple threat IC title match with Sheamus, McIntyre, and Gunther, and you took the main event with Reigns and Cody, and you put those two matches on night 1, you would have had the perfect WrestleMania card. That would have been maybe the best WrestleMania card from top to bottom ever, with every single match being super solid and playing the correct role in where it was placed. On the card. Night 2 was much weaker than night 1.
I know you like the Attitude Era and ECW and all that era, right? Like, but okay, if you could take, like, for example, if I could take some of the builds that they used to do in the 80s and early 90s for title matches, and you have like the Attitude Era level crowd, like the reason why I like some of the matches that I did in WrestleMania and maybe in AEW as well, that I like the old, like, I mean, they can't go back to doing jobber matches like they used to back in the day, right? But I do think if you build up to like big fucking matches that you haven't seen, I feel like it makes it 10 times more special. And I really do, like, I'm less about like the super stunts that are done as a video game level thing. I'm not saying that isn't that isn't good, but I think I need more emotional ties to the stories. And more like, more emotion being told in the matches than just fancy moves. You know what I mean? I think I'm beyond the point of seeing quality matches. I can see quality matches literally everywhere. New Japan, AAA, Stardom. I can see those dope matches like, all the time. I think I need to be sold on like investing in characters and larger than life. That's why I don't mind Roman Reigns. I think it should have ended, by the way, but I don't mind like having like someone not defend the title every single month. I feel like it's more special and a big deal when you do. I think the Attitude Era booking, I think it ruined everyone's perception because you thought you have to do, like I wish the Attitude Era had better booking in the sense that like The Rock and Stone Cold could have deserved better like big showdowns because they gave away that match all the time on Raw. They gave Triple H and Rock all the time on Raw. It didn't feel special on pay-per-view to me anymore. So I want to know, like, what do you look for in your matches that you want to feel invested into? Are you into the work rate only, or do you need to be invested into a big time story? Like, do you agree with what I'm
Oh,
saying, or what?
yeah. Work rate is important, but the story is most important. If the match, and listen, you could have matches without a story. You could just basically say the story is like, these two guys were booked to fight each other and they just put on a great match. But I think preferably most matches have a story behind them, and that story in tandem with a great match gets the ultimate sort of value in progressing the wrestlers, the talent, and ultimately puts on the best show. A good story with a shitty match isn't good either. I think it needs to be both things sort of combined. And of course, I do think there is a story there, even if the story is just like these two guys were booked to fight each other, and that's just what it was. That's the beginning of a story there. Not every story needs some like crazy, like this guy, did this to that guy's wife and he's out for revenge. But there should be a story behind some matches.
Okay, before I'll finally go. Let me ask you one thing, and I'll name you something. Name you something as well. In wrestling, on top of your head, what are some of your favorite like storylines from like start? Like for example, one of my favorite storylines, I think it's one of the best WWE storylines that they ever did, was Brett versus Owen. Like just like the beginning and end of how they built it up, how Owen became a made guy and all that. Macho Man and Hogan, obviously, one of my favorite. Like the way they did that. Like, what are some of your like classic? Like when people ask you, what are some of your classic feuds or classic storylines? Oh, by the way, Bret Hart and Austin was probably one of my favorites. But what are some of your favorite ones? And I'll get off right after you answer. And then I don't want to take too much of your time. Whatever.
I mean, the ultimate storyline to me, I think, honestly, is the NWO storyline in the early days of WCW, when the early days of that storyline, I should say, culminating with the whole Sting. The ending sucked. They botched it, and from there the NWO wasn't the same. But there was a good like year and a half where we had a long-term amazing storyline with like WCW versus NWO, and that ultimate match that it was going towards with Sting versus Hogan. And Sting coming in and saving like DDP and Luger, and I don't know if it ever gets any better than that in terms of just the ultimate long-term sort of storytelling. I love invasion angles, and that to me was the best invasion angle there ever was, honestly.
Yeah, but don't you think that like some of those tropes? I mean, in a bubble, right? But don't you think some of those tropes have carried on? Where like now it's been done to death, and I feel like that era of wrestling, even though it's great, I feel like that era of wrestling kind of like ruins everyone's perception of what wrestling should be because everyone thinks
if it's that good though. I mean, then that's not that storyline's fault that it was so good that it ruins everybody else's perception. I think WWE could have easily had something that good that wasn't. It would have been in the vein of an invasion, but not the same exact thing. With like say the Wyatt family, when it was Bray and Luke Harper and what's his face, Eric Rowan, and they were red hot, and they were red hot. There was no reason to not continue to extend that. I know they brought Braun Strowman in, and then eventually when they weren't even a family anymore, they brought Alexa Bliss in. But that was when. But if they instead of just like maxing it out at 3 people are allowed in a stable at a time, which seemed to be this weird WWE rule at the time, where you couldn't have a stable of more than 3 people. Imagine if there was like a storyline where this dark cult character was literally like brainwashing member after member, and it was becoming a real problem for the.
See, what you're describing is what I like. They did it kind of, but like that's what I liked about Raven's Flock. it felt like he was recruiting people in his stuff. And I actually thought I had an idea. I thought an idea would be that the Raven, like at least for like I know Raven and Flock wouldn't be on the same level as NWO, but I thought at least Raven could have at least been the one to kind of go at them, been one of the guys to go at them, at least to get Raven more over. I know Hogan wouldn't put Raven over, but I know that at least Scott Hall or Kevin Nash would have maybe done a program with him. You know, Kevin Nash did a program with Rey Mysterio, right? But like, you know what I mean? So I was always disappointed that Raven Flock didn't go to its highest level, even though I think WCW used Raven a lot better than WWE did. But I thought like WCW could have Raven could have become one of the bigger stars in WCW if they actually played their cards right. But listen, bro, I talked your ear off and I apologize. But thank you for taking my call, man. And I'll call in next time. But with the call, I enjoyed talking wrestling with you, man. It's been a pretty cool chat. So I'll leave you alone for the night, man.
Always
Thanks
a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks. Maybe one more call. Let's see. Let me read. I think we only got one super chat today. Like I said, I think people are having, or maybe I just suck now. That's probably a possibility too. But Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Just a donation to Matt because he is never going to make a living for his Trump impression. You are still awesome though. Let's go to the phones. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me all right? It
I
is
can
Adam.
hear you.
Hi. I just heard you were saying maybe one more call, so I'll try and keep it quick. Yeah. God, sorry. I basically only just woke up like an hour ago, so I'm still a little bit sleepy. But you can hear me all right, yeah?
I can, yeah. What's up?
Okay. To be honest, it seemed like more of a scam economy call, and it's kind of a bit of a silly one, but you know. Basically, do you remember the were you there in the majority part when they did that call where it was like Sam was called by a fake IRS agent and he like pranked them for like 40 minutes? Do you remember that?
What was that? I'm sorry?
Well, Sam got a call from a fake IRS agent and then he pretended to be John Benjamin on the call. It's like
I did not see that actually. I did not see that.
Oh yeah, it was like a few years ago now. It's really funny. I recommend watching it. It's basically, it wasn't even on the show. I think it just happened while he was in studio. So he just like, oh, quick, record this, and then he just prank called them.
Oh wait, I do remember that now. No, I remember that now. I remember it happening off air, and then he recorded it. Right.
Yeah. Were you there when that happened?
Was it pre-2016?
Probably not actually. I think it was like 2017, 2018.
Okay, then I wasn't there then. No, I left the show full time. I was working there full time from 2011 to October 2015, and then I left full time, and then I came back to do Thursdays in 2020.
Sweet. I was inspired to do that kind of thing, right, because of that MR thing. And basically, you know those bots that are really creepy that appear in comment sections, and in fact, I've seen them in your comment sections too, where they'll have like an innocuous first comment where it's like, oh, something about making money, and then the reply will be like, oh, I need financial advice. Can anyone help me get financial advice? Next reply, oh, I tried Mr. Peterson. Oh, really? Who's Mr. Peterson? How do I get in contact with him? You know, and it's like a series of like a big dialogue chain of like 12 different bots, all recommending this one WhatsApp account. Have you seen those before?
I have, yes. I have.
I decided to contact one of them just to see what happened.
And how'd that go? Tell me about it.
Did
they get back to you yet or no?
I can send you the full conversation if you want, but basically I just wasted their time a bit.
That's good.
1 sec.
I'd love to see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of long, but basically it was like a crypto thing where what they were doing is they would basically say, hey, put some money into a Bitcoin wallet, which I control, and then presumably they'd just like move it out of the wallet and run off with your cash. Probably.
Did you save the original message? Do you have the original message still too, like the one that you saw that you contacted them over?
Oh no, unfortunately I didn't think to add that one. Hang on, I'll send. There's like.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where did you see? Where did you find it again? I'm sorry.
It was just in some YouTube comment section, like one of these things.
Right.
1 sec. Okay, so I sent Okay, when do those ones end? Hang on, I want to make sure that I'm sending everything and not sending something multiple
You're sending it in
times.
the chat here in Skype, right?
Yeah, yeah, one sec. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so basically, I was kind of just like wasting their time.
Well,
But
I'm doing a crypto. I'm doing a scam economy. Tomorrow is this episode of Scam Economy. So I don't know if you could call in tomorrow, but let's save these for tomorrow for the post show.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. And yeah, the yeah, basically, I do think it is interesting. Like, obviously, this is a very micro version of the scam economy, but it is kind of interesting how crypto itself sort of facilitates these kinds of scams. Like, you can
Right.
see why they'd be attracted to using crypto instead of something else.
Right. And
Especially
they go
because,
straight for crypto. That's what they know to use. They know to use crypto. I mean, it says enough. Like if there was
yeah,
a form of I mean, Cash App is getting shit right now for all the scams they're being used for. And I got to say, listen, like I don't really, I mean, I know it's popular with like teens trying to raise money and stuff, but maybe it's just the specific generation I'm in, but the app you use to pay your friends back is Venmo. um, so Cash App is pretty well known for being used for scams and illegal activity.
I don't know if Cash App is a thing in the UK, to be honest. I don't know if I've heard of it being
Right?
used here.
It's
Please pay here.
yeah, it's like one of those peer to peer payment services, but it's used for it's yeah, that's how it is. All right, man. Thanks for the call. Can you call in tomorrow, or are you not sure?
I will try. Also, one last thing. I'll give my movie rec for the week.
Super
The
Mario
wrestler.
Brothers.
I was gonna say the wrestler because it's appropriate to the last call. So there you go. I'm assuming you've seen that film, though.
I've seen it multiple times. It's fantastic. It's
Yeah,
a great
really.
recommend. Obviously,
I've
a great
only
recommend.
seen it once, but I was like, because I'm not really that into wrestling as a person, so I was kind of like, do I really want to watch a movie about wrestling? No offense, Matt. I hope you don't take offense.
No, it's actually
So,
people need to know it's a really good movie, and if you don't know anything about wrestling, it's a great movie.
yeah, it's really, really powerful stuff, and it helps you sort of appreciate what goes on behind the scenes a bit more as well, and the toll that can take on people.
Yeah, and it is scarily accurate in ways that I wish it wasn't for some of the older guys who are stuck, doing working till literally they die.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Spoilers, Matt. Not saying that happens in the movie,
Oh
you
well,
know.
well, actually, we don't know if that happens in the movie. It's that
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
necessarily happen.
Yeah. True. Okay. Right. I'll leave you then because I know you want to get off. Congratulations on the new puppy.
Thank you.
Was that for yourself or was that something your son wanted or
Oh
just
no, it's for the kids. It was for the kids. I probably would have gone without a dog for the rest of my life again. I've
for some
become.
reason, feeling.
What was that?
For some reason, I had a feeling that it might have been like, oh, the kid really wanted a dog, so all right,
Yeah.
fine, we'll get a dog.
I mean, I've become a cat person because they're just easier. In my old age.
I love my dogs though, but I do also love cats.
I was forever a dog person until about 2013. So I had a dog when I was 3, and then we had more dogs after that. I was always a dog person, and then I got my first cat in 2013, and it was like I still love dogs. I think they're great, but dogs and cats are very different. It's weird that they're the two like go-to pets when they're just so different. And when you're, I guess maybe in my opinion, it was easier. When multiple people were taking up the dog's responsibility, when you had time and everything, because dogs need a lot more attention and work than a cat does.
Yeah, cat's just happy, like chilling, Occasionally, if it feels like it, it'll come over to you and ask for a stroke. But as long as you feed it, it's happy.
Yeah, he's very low maintenance. I literally just got to clean the litter box and feed him, and he's fine. And other than that, he goes to the bathroom on his own, which is the real benefit of a cat. You don't got to take him for walks. There's no accidents because, I mean, at least in my experience, I've only had 2 cats in my life so far, but neither one of them have ever had an accident. So yeah, easy peasy.
All right. Well, before we get into another long pet talk, I'll leave now. I'll try and call tomorrow. If for some reason, because I have a UK sleep schedule, I don't manage to call. If you really wanted to, you could just look at the text chain without me there, but I think it would be better with me there.
I could always
But,
save it for the next time you call in, even if you don't call in tomorrow. No problem.
Trust me, there's like a punchline at the end. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, you
I'm
can
looking
read it.
forward to looking at it. All right, take care.
See ya, man.
Bye. All right, folks, that's it for tonight. I don't like when I get to the point where I feel like I can't give my 100% because you're calling in. And I'm feeling really tired. So I read the super chats, or should I say super chat? Oh no, there's another one. Zachamania with a super chat. Matt, please do a few Marjorie Taylor Greene clips. You owe us non-wrestling fans. I will do it tomorrow. I promise. We'll start with it. I'm gonna be, the episode of Scam Economy is recorded already. So when I start the live stream, I'll be 100%. I'll be able to. We'll start with those clips because again, like I said, the post-show live stream for Scam Economy is no longer a crypto show, no longer a Scam Economy only show. I mean, we do talk about it, like I said with Adam. You're welcome to call in and talk about it. It's not only a crypto show. So I'll play the Marjorie Taylor Greene clips during the post show tomorrow. Cool. And let me just make sure. Oh, who should I rate on Twitch? Who should I raid over on Twitch? Let's see. Let's see what the choices here are. Oh, is Conure CC on right now? Because I would definitely raid them. They are on. Yeah, I've not rated Conure, and I definitely have retweeted their stuff lately. So let me do that. Here we go. All right, folks. Had a lot of fun talking with you all. Patreon.com/MattBinder if you're not already and would like to subscribe. Beginning of the month is always difficult because I lose subscribers. So thank you to my subscribers, obviously, who stick around every month and support. Really cannot do it without you. Like if I was to suffer a major Patreon loss, I would have to cut the time I put into this show big time. We'd probably do less content for sure. So the patrons keep this show alive and going. So thank you so much to the patrons, as always. And if you can become a patron subscriber, patreon.com/MattBinder. Oh, Renee got a last minute super chat in. Miss Heathen is homelessness again. Please send help. Oh, what happened to Miss Heathen? Is there what? Ugh. Let's see. Have them reach out to me, please. Let's see if we get drop a PayPal or something to get them some help. All right. Let me raid Conure. And tomorrow, Scam Economy. Thursday, Majority Report. And Leftist Mafia. Until then, I will see you all next time on Doomed.